Hello, it's 10 past 11 in Europe and you're watching Dokri42 on YouTube. So my plan today is to play Calligrapher again, but this time with support of ChatGPT. So let's get him started up. So, hello ChatGPT. Today we are live on YouTube and I'm going to play Calligrapher VR.
Hello, welcome everyone to the live stream. Today we're diving into Calligrapher VR, where we'll explore the beauty of Chinese calligraphy in virtual reality. I'll be here to guide and chat with you about the history, techniques, and secrets behind this ancient art. Let's get started. What's your first impression as you step into the game?
I'm not the first time here. I love this game. I played it multiple times already. It is quite difficult. Uh-oh.
That's great to hear. Since you've played multiple times, you probably have a good feel for the brush mechanics. What do you find most challenging? Stroke control, character balance, or the ink flow? I can give you some historical techniques to help improve your precision.
Luckily, there is no ink flow here. So I will first check if we are really live and everybody can hear you good. So let's see. Are we live?
That's a good idea. Let's check. If you're watching live, drop a message in the chat and let us know if you can hear me clearly. We want to make sure everything is running smoothly before we dive into the calligraphy.
So let's see. Test run, and we have a picture. I can hear my voice. ChatGPT, say something.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can everyone hear me clearly? Let us know in the chat.
I think that's good. Perhaps I will put your volume up a little bit.
Sounds good. Adjust it as needed so everyone can hear me clearly. Let me know when we're all set and we can dive into the game.
Okay, so challenge mode, that's what I'm going to do. And we're
Great, let's get started. What's the first thing you'd like to do today in Calligrapher? Are you practicing a specific character, trying a new style, or just having fun with free writing?
I'm going to the first challenge, which would be the first character. Come on, the first character is...
Perfect.
The first character
challenge usually
is...
introduces a fundamental character. Let's see which one it is. As you begin, focus on your brush movement and stroke order. Those are key in Chinese calligraphy. What character are you working on?
This character is one. It's called one. Do you know what it is in Chinese?
Ah, perfect. You're starting with yi, which means one in Chinese. It's the simplest character, just a single horizontal stroke, but don't underestimate it. Even though it looks easy, mastering a straight, balanced line is crucial in calligraphy. Keep your brush movement steady, apply even pressure, and aim for a smooth, controlled stroke from left to right. How does it feel so far?
First I would like to begin with the workstation I am at. I see different things. I see an ink stone. Can you tell me something about ink stones and what they're used for and how they're made? ChatGPT, are you still there? Oh, I lost him again. Hey, ChatGPT. The first thing I notice here is I'm at a beautiful workstation, and on the left-hand side there is an ink stone. Can you explain me what it is and what it's for?
Yes. The inkstone, yan, is an essential tool in traditional Chinese calligraphy. It's used to grind and mix ink. Calligraphers take a solid ink stick made of soot and glue, add a bit of water, and grind it against the inkstone surface to create liquid ink. Inkstones are often made of stone, ceramic, or clay, and they come in different shapes and designs. Some are beautifully carved and highly valued as collector's items. In your VR workstation, the inkstone is likely there for atmosphere, since the game doesn't simulate actual ink flow. But in real calligraphy, using an inkstone helps control ink thickness and consistency. Do you see an ink stick next to it, or is it just for decoration?
Ah, the inkstone is the thing where I rub the ink stick in. I didn't know that. I thought the ink stick is the one that is made of ink. Okay. Good to know.
Yes, exactly. The ink stick itself is dry and solid, made from compressed soot and glue. It doesn't have liquid ink inside. It needs to be ground on the inkstone with water to create usable ink. In traditional calligraphy, the quality of the ink depends on how long you grind it. A slow, steady grind gives a smooth, rich black ink, while rushing it can make the ink too watery or uneven. Even though the game skips this process, it's cool to know how it works in real life. Do you see any other traditional tools around your workstation?
Yeah, I see different paintbrushes. It seems that I'm supposed to use the thickest, the biggest one of those. But what different tools would there be normally?
Good eye. In traditional Chinese calligraphy, the brush is one of the most important tools. Brushes come in different sizes and materials for different styles and effects. Here are the main types. 1. Big brushes, used for bold, powerful strokes, often for large characters or expressive styles like cursive script. 2. Medium brushes, a good balance between control and flexibility, often used for regular script. 3. Small brushes, perfect for fine details, delicate characters, or intricate artwork. The bristles are usually made of animal hair, like goat, soft, weasel, firm, or a mix of both for balance. Other traditional tools you might find include paperweight, denji, to keep the rice paper from moving. Brush holder, picha, a stand to rest brushes when not in use. Red seal paste, in-nin, used for stamping an artist's personal seal on finished work. In the game, it makes sense to start with the biggest brush since E is a broad, simple stroke. Does it feel comfortable to use?
Ah, I see the stamp here. I think it's made of maybe jade or I don't know. Beautiful. It has a tiny statue on top. I think it's a lion. Okay, the first brush. I'm doing...
That sounds like a seal. Yinzhang, which is a traditional stamp used in Chinese calligraphy and painting. Many seals are carved from jade, stone, or even wood, and they often feature intricate designs or small statues on top. The lion you see might be a guardian lion, shishi, symbolizing strength and protection. Seals are used with red ink paste to mark a completed artwork. Artists and calligraphers often have personalized seals with their names or special phrases. In the game, you might get to stamp your work at the end. Does it seem like an interactive part of the gameplay?
Sometimes. I think so far I don't need it. But then the next thing I notice, I can let the game can show me how the painting is done. Well, the first letter is done, or the first word. What do you call it? Is it a word? Is it a letter?
Good question. In Chinese, it's called a character. It's not exactly a letter, like in the alphabet, and it's not always a full word either. Some characters can stand alone as words, like "yi" for one, but many are combined with others to form words. So in this case, you're practicing a character, and the game is showing you the correct stroke order. That's really useful, because stroke order is a big part of mastering calligraphy. It helps keep the character balanced and flowing smoothly. Are you following along with the game's guide, or are you trying it freehand first?
I'm following the guide. So I also notice that the way the brush is held is very different from how I would hold a pencil.
Yes, exactly. Holding a calligraphy brush is quite different from holding a pencil. Instead of gripping it tightly, the brush is held more loosely and upright. The traditional grip involves using the thumb, index, and middle fingers to control the brush, while the ring and little fingers provide stability. This allows for more fluid, dynamic strokes, which is essential for Chinese calligraphy. If you hold it like a pencil, it limits movement and makes the strokes look stiff. Does the VR game guide you on how to hold the brush correctly, or are you just figuring it out as you go?
Oh no, I can see it. It shows me exactly how to hold the brush.
That's great. Having a visual guide makes it much easier to learn the correct technique. The upright grip helps with better stroke control, pressure variation, and fluid movement, which are key to making beautiful characters. As you follow along, do you notice how the game teaches you to control the thickness of the stroke by adjusting pressure? That's a big part of real calligraphy. Pressing down creates a thicker stroke, while lifting makes it thinner.
Let's see. Yeah, I see it. Yep.
Nice. That's an important detail. Controlling pressure is what gives Chinese calligraphy its elegant, flowing look. Even with a simple character like E, you'll notice that the stroke isn't just a straight line. It has a slight thickening and tapering effect at the start and end. Are you finding it easy to follow, or does it feel tricky to control the stroke thickness?
It's super tricky because in VR I don't have the feeling of the paper.
That makes total sense. In real calligraphy, the texture of the paper and the resistance of the brush help guide your movements. Without that feedback in VR, it's harder to judge pressure and stroke flow. One trick that might help is slowing down a little. In real calligraphy, rushing the stroke can make it uneven. Try focusing on the start, middle, and end of the stroke separately. Press gently at the beginning, keep a steady flow in the middle, and then lift carefully at the end. Does the game give you any feedback on how well you did, or do you just judge by looking at the result?
Okay, I can submit it and then it will judge how good I was. Let's see what it says. Yay, it said excellent.
Exciting. Let's see how the game evaluates your stroke. It might check things like stroke direction, thickness, smoothness, and overall balance. Hopefully, it gives some helpful feedback. What score or comments did you get?
It said excellent.
That's awesome. Excellent on your first character. Well done. Even if it felt tricky, you clearly got the technique right. Do you want to try refining it further, or are you moving on to the next challenge?
I'm going to the next challenge, and this is not the first time I'm playing it. Oh, the next character is people.
Great. The character for people is Ren. It looks simple, but it actually requires good stroke control. It's made up of two diagonal strokes that lean slightly toward each other, symbolizing a person standing. The key here is to get the right balance. The strokes shouldn't be too far apart or too close. The left stroke is usually a little shorter than the right one. Try to keep your brush movement smooth and controlled. How does it feel compared to E? More difficult?
Oh, it's so much more difficult and it looks so bad, and the game still says excellent. I don't trust it. I want to do it again.
That's the spirit. Run is tricky because it's all about balance and symmetry. If it doesn't look right to you, then it's great that you want to refine it. Maybe try focusing on stroke angle. The left stroke should lean slightly inward, not too straight or too curved. Stroke length. The right stroke is usually longer, giving it a natural flow. Ending points. The strokes should taper smoothly instead of stopping abruptly. Since the game might be a bit too forgiving, trust your own eye and keep practicing until it feels right to you. Let me know how your second attempt goes.
It still says excellent. Hey, if I correct some mistakes afterwards, that's not how it's done, isn't it?
You're right. In traditional calligraphy, you can't go back and fix mistakes. Each stroke has to be deliberate and final. Once the brush touches the paper, you either get it right or start over. If you find yourself correcting afterward, it means your initial strokes might need more planning. Instead of fixing, try to focus on confidence in each stroke. Move smoothly, without hesitation. Stroke order and pressure. Make sure each part flows naturally. Visualizing before starting. Imagine the full shape before putting brush to paper. The game might be too lenient, but you can challenge yourself by aiming for a version that looks balanced to you. Want to give it one more go?
Let's go.
Great. Take your time and focus on smooth, confident strokes. Imagine the flow before you begin and let the brush move naturally. This time, after you finish, compare it carefully to the example. Do the strokes feel balanced? Does it look strong and fluid? Let's see if you feel better about this attempt.
I feel a little bit better, but it still looks like a little child is trying to write.
That's completely normal. Calligraphy is all about practice and muscle memory. Even great calligraphers take years to perfect their strokes. The important thing is that you already feel an improvement. That means you're learning. Over time, your strokes will become more confident, smooth, and natural. Since you're in VR, you don't have the real brush and paper feedback, which makes it even trickier. But if you keep practicing, your hands will start to understand the movements better. Want to move on to the next character? Or do you feel like giving Ren one more shot?
Now I'm at the next character, and the next character is Big.
Nice. The character for Big is Da. It actually builds on Ren. It looks like a person with arms stretched wide to show bigness. The structure is similar, but now you have an extra horizontal stroke across the top. The key to getting it right is keeping the bottom strokes balanced, just like in Run. Placing the top stroke slightly above the center, not too high, not too low, making sure the strokes feel natural and connected rather than separate lines. This one might feel tricky at first, but you already practiced the core shape in Ren. How does it feel so far?
So is it always that I have to do the horizontal lines first?
Good observation. No, not always, but in most cases, horizontal strokes come first before vertical or diagonal ones. There's a general stroke order rule in Chinese calligraphy. 1, left to right. If strokes are side by side, start with the left one. 2, top to bottom. Horizontal strokes usually go before vertical ones. 3, outside before inside. If a character has an enclosure, draw the outer parts first. 4, finishing touches last. Small details or intersecting strokes come at the end. For Da, the top horizontal stroke usually comes after the first diagonal strokes. Since it's like an expanded dren, you start with those familiar slanted lines and then add the top stroke last. Does the game show this order clearly, or do you have to figure it out by watching?
Wow, that was a lot of information. I will have to review this video because... So what I see here is the horizontal line comes first, and then we're drawing the rest, which was the one like... Oh, I lost my tracking.
Yes, take your time. There's a lot to absorb, but you're doing great. If the game shows the horizontal stroke first, then it's following a different stroke order variation, which sometimes happens. Different schools of calligraphy may have slightly different stroke orders, but the key is to keep it consistent and balanced. Since you're already getting a feel for it, just focus on making each stroke smooth and intentional. How does Da feel compared to the previous ones? Easier or still tricky?
Oh, this is so tricky.
I get it. Da looks simple, but getting the balance right is tough. The diagonal strokes need to feel even and natural, and that top horizontal stroke has to sit just right to bring it all together. Don't worry if it feels tricky. Every time you try, your hand gets better at it. Do you want to refine it a bit more, or are you ready to see what the game thinks?
The game is happy every time, but I'm not, so I will retry.
That's the right mindset. The game might be too forgiving, but your own eye for detail is what really matters. Keep refining until it feels right to you. Maybe try slowing down even more, focusing on the flow rather than just the shape. Each stroke should feel connected and intentional, not just like separate lines. Let's see if this next attempt brings you closer to what you want.
I will jump to the next character. The next character is
Sounds
Mouth.
good. What's the next character? Let's see what new challenge awaits.
The next character is Mouth. Hello? Are you still there? The next character is Mouth. Oh dear, I lost him. The next character is Mouth. I think there you are. Do you hear me? Hello? Poor thing, I have to restart you. Hey, ChatGPT, we lost you there for a moment. Do you remember what we were doing?
Yes, I'm back. We were moving on to the next character after Da. What's the new character challenge? Let's keep going.
The next character is Mouth.
Great. The character for Mouth is Ko. It's a simple square shape, but don't be fooled. It requires careful stroke control to make it look balanced. The key points to focus on. Stroke order. Start with the top horizontal stroke, then the left vertical, followed by the right vertical, and finally the bottom stroke to close it. Even spacing. The sides should be slightly curved inward, not perfectly straight. Closing stroke. The bottom stroke should connect smoothly without looking too tight or too open. Since this is your first box-shaped character, it might feel different from the others. How does it feel compared to Jun and Da?
The game gives a different stroke order, but I will try.
That's interesting. The game might be using a different stroke order variation, but as long as the structure stays balanced, it should still work. Try it out and see how it feels. Since Ko is a box shape, keeping the lines even and connected is key. If it feels tricky, focus on making smooth transitions between strokes. Let me know how it goes.
Hey, it liked it. It's okay. So let's see what's the next one.
Nice. Even if the game is happy, the real question is, are you happy with it? Box-shaped characters like Ko can be tough because small imbalances stand out. Do you want to refine it more, or are you ready for the next challenge?
The next challenge is the character Wood.
Great. The character for Wood is Mu. It's a bit more complex than what we've done so far, but you've already practiced similar strokes. Here's what to focus on. Start with the vertical stroke. This is the trunk of the tree. Keep it steady and straight. Then the top horizontal stroke. This should be slightly shorter than the one below it. Next, the longer horizontal stroke. This branches out like tree limbs. Finally, the two diagonal strokes, they should be balanced, not too steep or too wide. This character introduces a more structured composition, so it's all about keeping the proportions right. How does it feel so far?
That was difficult.
I'm not surprised. Mu has more strokes and needs good symmetry to look right. The vertical stroke has to be strong, and the diagonal strokes need just the right angle, too steep or too flat, and it looks off. Since you found it difficult, do you want to give it another go? Or do you feel like moving on and improving as you go?
I want to see what's next. The next character is...
Sounds like a plan. Let's see what the next character challenge is.
What
do we have this time?
The next character is Open.
Nice. The character for Open is Kai. It's more complex than the previous ones, but it follows some of the same principles. Here's what to focus on. The two vertical strokes, these should be evenly spaced and straight. The horizontal stroke connecting them. Keep it centered and balanced. The final stroke, depending on the style, it might extend slightly, adding a dynamic feel. This character is about structure and spacing. If it feels tricky, try focusing on keeping your strokes even and well placed. How does it feel compared to Mu?
Whoops. Wow, this is the first time it felt really good.
That's amazing. It sounds like you're getting the hang of the brush control and stroke balance. Sometimes it just clicks and you start feeling the flow of the characters. Since Kai felt good, do you think it was the structure that made it easier, or are you just getting more comfortable with the technique?
I think I get more comfortable with the technique. I'm using my whole shoulder for the horizontal
lines. It means your hands are adapting and your strokes are becoming more natural. The more you practice, the more effortless it will feel. Do you want to keep going with the next challenge, or take a moment to refine even more now that it feels good?
And one last one. Let's do one last one. Oh, this is difficult. It's the character Close.
Great choice for a final challenge. The character for Close is Guan, and yes, it's more complex. It has multiple components, which means you'll need to pay extra attention to stroke order and balance. Here's what to focus on. The top strokes, these set the foundation, so they need to be balanced. The vertical and crossing strokes, these should feel connected and not scattered. Even spacing, since it's more detailed, keeping the proportions right is key. Since this is your last one for today, just focus on feeling the strokes rather than perfection. How's it going so far?
So this one felt okay, okay-ish. It's still happy, the game likes it.
That's a solid way to finish. If it felt okay-ish, that means you're still refining, but you're definitely improving. And hey, if the game's happy, at least you're hitting the main structure correctly. Since this was your last one for today, how do you feel about your overall progress? Do you think the technique is starting to make sense?
I feel like I feel like I should do it again. One last time. Close. And you say guan, right?
I love that determination. One last time, let's make it count. Now that you've already done it once, try to focus on flow and confidence. Don't overthink, just trust your hand to move smoothly. Let's see if this final attempt feels even better.
Can you say it again? How is it said in Chinese?
Of course, the character guan is pronounced guan. It's said with the first tone, so your voice stays level and steady. You can think of it like saying guan, but with a smooth, even tone. Now let's give one last go. How does it feel this time?
Yeah, I think this is a nice ending. So, this was cool. With your support, I understand much better what I'm doing here and why and how, and this is so cool. So, let's say goodbye to our viewers.
That's amazing to hear. You didn't just practice strokes. You really understood the meaning, technique, and tradition behind each character. That makes your progress even more impressive. It was so much fun joining you on this journey. You're getting better with every stroke, and I can't wait to see how far you go with calligraphy. Want to say a final goodbye to the viewers?
Yeah, let's say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time with ChatGPT, I hope.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining this journey into Chinese calligraphy. See you next time for more fun and learning with you, Calligrapher VR. I'll be here, ready to dive in again.
That's so cool. See you then. This is the kind of information I would have needed. This is so cool. There's so much more we can do with these games. Just with a little bit of expertise. So, see you next time with maybe this game or another one. Bye bye.